Kia ora and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora everyone, welcome to Constellations and All That. Today I have the pleasure of talking to my friend Aiste Samsonovaite. I think I might have, we've just been practicing saying your last name, but I'm going to invite you please, Aiste, to introduce yourself a bit more and share with the listeners and the viewers a little bit about you.
Kia ora. Thank you, Tracy, for having me here, for inviting. It's lovely to be with you again. So I come from Lithuania, from one of the Baltic states in the Northeast Europe. Yes, for some people, it's good to know where it is. And my name Aiste, which is coming from my land. It's actually the tribal name. It's our tribe name from a long time ago. Yeah, I was born in the 1989, just before the collapse of Soviet Union, and the freedom and the reconnection with the ancestors and our culture was very much in the air. So, yeah, that's how it came to me, and the connection to ancestors. It's part of what I carry in my name. So I'm a constellations facilitator, and I do walk a ceremonial path for many years now. Been adopted into a tribe in north of Canada, Anishinaabe people, and it's a really big part of my life that really guides me on my journeys. And we've experienced some of that together.
We
Being
have.
guided
It's
on
been
some
amazing.
ceremonial places. And I am also a psychologist. I did study bachelor's and master's degree in health psychology and worked a bit in a mental hospital. So you have that experience as well.
Wow, beautiful. And you and I met in Mexico, Merida, last year, and I've been watching you, enjoying watching you traveling and sharing your magic around all over the place, actually. You described yourself as a nomad. I was referring to gypsy because there's gypsy in me, but nomad. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that, about what you're doing, what you're up to at the moment?
Yeah, I was just coming into terms myself with this description, like who am I, a nomad? I guess it's true, I've been traveling a lot. I build this relationship with the land where I go, and then time passes and I just feel I need to go there again. So I do have friends and people and ceremonial family as well that, I feel called and invited to go to, but it's also the land that just talks and says, okay, like come visit me. Let's see what wants to open up, what's here to share between us.
Beautiful. Yeah, you took us to an amazing place on the way to Uxmal. Were we going to Uxmal that day?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Uxmal, for those who don't know, is the temple that is behind me in this image that I've popped up there. And we went to a shaman in on a hill in a very remote location. Well, on the way to there, and yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about that a little bit? Well, it was an amazing experience.
So we met with you, Tracy, in the conference, right? And then you had some free days after with some people of New Zealand and Australia. And I was very pleased that you've invited me to travel with you, and just these little things happen on the way. Like we could stop in one of the places that I knew from many years ago, that I met this elder there, and I didn't know will they be there or not, but I just knew that they carry that story of the dwarfs, of the little people. They don't say dwarfs, little people living there, like the spirits of the land. And I thought you might like to connect with that because it's something very unique for that area and for the Mayan people in Yucatan.
It was an amazing place, and the shaman was taking us through an experience with sound, and been using smoke and doing a ceremony to invite us into the land and that. And I'll never forget that when he was drumming away, and then his drumstick just went flying up into the, it snapped in half, went flying up into the air and wedged up in the roof, and he hadn't even realised, and he was still driving away. But his one of his comrades had realised. It was amazing, yeah, amazing experience, and the land was so. It felt really familiar, and I think that's what you feel a lot about land when you're traveling, and you feel that connection. And there was something really, for me, really familiar about Mexico in itself. So it
I
was
feel that
beautiful.
place, because people continue acknowledging the land and the spirits that are there, or just the essence that's there, and live in that respectful way. It's something so ancient and ancestral that we all
Mm,
recognize. There is that
mm,
homecoming in some.
absolutely. Yeah. So you're a family constellation facilitator, and you travel around quite a bit sharing your work. Can you tell me, so at the moment, where in the world are you?
I'm in Switzerland now, just for a few weeks. I used to come here a few summers before, and actually did a retreat here last year, a camp on the mountain of
Wow.
constellations. And I guess it's again the same, like, connection with the Alps, with this place. It's really good to be here again. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so because all facilitators have different styles, how would you describe your style of work? Obviously, connecting into the land, how does that connect in with the ancestors and bringing in
Yeah,
your
I still
sacred
feel like
knowledge?
I'm a very, traditional family
Okay.
constellations facilitator, really following, Bert Herlinger's initial work and my teacher, Barbara Morgan. So staying with those, I guess, like ground teachings.
Yeah.
But I truly love the work of Francesca Mason-Boring as well, and bringing the nature in. And whenever I have, more days when it's, a few day workshop or a camp, I love bringing nature and doing constellations with nature and inviting the elements that are there and just saying, okay, like, is there something you want to share with us? We are open to receive, to witness, and yeah, to be in that relationship. So,
Great.
and another
Beautiful.
thing that you really inspired me to do as well, I was always so curious about sound, like, because sound is so powerful. I love starting the constellations, like I love starting with a prayer initially. But then I love like singing a song together that really, you can just feel how it like clicks us all together. It already like brings us all so much closer. And then I learned, that within the constellation, when it gets really stuck or there's kind of no more movement forward, I just trust now to be guided, to take my rattle from time to time and walk around the space and just allow that movement, inviting others even to make a sound and to bring that in. So that's something new I've been working with the last year. It's been really beautiful. So I'm also
Wonderful.
grateful for you for showing it to me, in practice. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It kind of showed itself to me, and it was like, oh, this is so different to what I've seen,
Mm.
you know? And so really had to just, it kept coming back and coming back, and all right, tried it
Mm.
out, and it was like, oh yeah, the field really wants this to happen because sound, there's vibrations and the frequencies and even our
The
language,
other
right?
thing I've discovered with that, it's like inviting other people. It usually for me comes in the end of constellation. So we've been already for a while working together with that one person's field within that field,
Yeah.
and then just saying, okay, like let's see if we can support this somehow, support this system, like invite that love even from
Mm,
ourselves as humans who are just present in the circle, like just make some sound, whatever comes. And truly magic happens, like how we become a tribe. I don't know, we just become this united force that can bring change or just support the change to happen.
yeah. Well, I think if you think about the different nations, the different nationalities, when you go back to our ancestors of the fire, sound, whether it was stomping of the feet, clapping, or just humming even, was all
Mm.
part of the healing, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. So beautiful. So tell me, how did you first meet constellations? How did you get involved?
So I was aware about it for many years as I studied psychology, when I was 20 and all, but never fully drawed me in. I always had like some resistance. Wasn't sure what is this. The name sounds weird. And then one time I just saw it online, I guess, like that Barbara was coming to Lithuania, Barbara Morgan. She used to come for some years, and I just knew, like for many it happens. I just knew I need to be there.
Mm.
And yeah, after representing, stepping into the field, just being there, I had this sense like I know this work. I haven't read about it. I don't know what she's doing, but what are
Yeah.
the laws or yeah, the orders, just all was new. But inside of me, my soul, I just knew I know this work. I recognize. I remember maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
had the
she was
same.
saying, I'll do the training. So I was just the first person to go in and say, okay, I'm here.
Did she do the training in Lithuania or in England?
No, in England. In
Yeah.
England.
Oh, beautiful. I'd love to meet her someday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. She's done a lot of important work for family constellations, hasn't she? And held that space of the knowing field for a very long time with her. For those who don't know, the knowing field it was a printed, like kind of like a newsletter, but journal sort of thing. And then it's online, isn't it? And you can get copies of it online. I think it's
Yeah.
still you just look up the knowing field journal and yeah, heaps of
That's
information,
amazing.
lots of letters and emails and exercises and all of that from many different facilitators, some that are no longer with us. So it's a great resource. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. So how do you describe it when you're wandering the earth and you're meeting new people and they ask you what you do? How do you describe it?
I guess it depends on the person I talk to. Because yeah, it's not easy to describe. It's always just inviting, like
Mm,
come and experience it. I guess
mm,
I start about like that it's a way of stepping out of our individualistic way of being and seeing things and seeing ourselves and our problems and issues and going into this wider systemic or collective seeing. I like to name that, the person who brought this work to us is Bert Hellinger, and that he also spent a lot of time with the tribe in South Africa, with the Zulu tribe. And there are some teachings that you can just feel. There is this like knowing of the collective field of the community. So I like to name that and to name our interrelatedness with our ancestors as well, that they matter and their experiences matter and we are not separate. So some of the things that we are living now might be the consequence, I guess, of the lives of our ancestors, and some of the pain and troubles that we carry might be something that come from there. So it's really a beautiful way to look at that and to see some of those patterns and to see and possibly bring love
mm.
into that line, into our.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful way to describe it.
Thank you.
When you're working with the land and you're working with constellations, just trying to think of how to formulate this question. Okay, I'll just keep it really simple. How do you how do you work with the land and constellations together?
I love doing, like nature constellation or land constellation, as I named before, like inviting, for example, in Glastonbury, I do run workshops quite often, actually co-facilitating with my colleague Anne Wiltshire in UK and Glastonbury. And it's one of the pilgrimage sites too in England,
Mm,
one of the really important ones in Europe. Um, so, for example, there we did this constellation where we bring just what comes to people to relating to that place. So there is a sacred hill, there are the water springs, the red spring, the white spring. There is the Magdalene temple that's really drawing a lot of people there, and the rose, and then the local people, the pilgrims, the tourists. So we just bring everything that's there, and we do a blind constellation often with that, setting it up and seeing what comes and what the place itself want to tell us, right? Like
Mm, mm.
maybe it needs something from us. Like sometimes we forget and things happen just because the land needs something. So why not to do it in a good way? So that's
Beautiful.
one.
So giving back to the area.
Yeah, it was
Beautiful.
amazing. That constellation, I just remembered it now because actually the whole thing turned upside down. Like the clouds became on the ground, the tower that's there became upside down, and it felt like, oh, we really reached the Avalon, which is another name for that place, which is more a
Ah,
spirit realm of that place.
yeah,
It's like, wow, how beautiful the field is that it's really, shows us what's there. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of people aren't familiar with land or nature constellations. Is there how else does it show up for you in a nature constellation or a land constellation? Just give it for those who aren't aware of them
Hmm.
so much.
Nature constellation. I mean, I don't know, like bringing nature as a resource inside the constellation, the elements of nature, the places that people are really connected to just to support them in the process, or some plants or some hills from our childhood might be a really huge support to just set it up in the constellation and see,
Mm,
how the field can change. Yeah, just recently, I found out that it's really important sometimes where the big traumas happen to us to include those places, nature as well,
yeah.
as a resource, as a support, and as also a holding, because it's not just us, there is the land also with us. So, yeah,
Mm.
that can be powerful as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes as humans we forget that we're a part of everything that is around us as well. I do
Mm.
remember Francesca years ago, I was at a workshop of hers and it was probably about 12 years ago. And in the constellation, we were outside, we were having this experience, and it was like a some part of a tree fell down at this particular
Mm.
moment, and it was like nature was giving us another sign. You know, that was part of the constellation, kind of a message from there. And then there were birds that came in, and just trying to think, there was something else that happened. Oh, I think there were some children because where we were was we were sharing this area with a school group as well.
Mm.
And it had been very quiet, and we were all doing this beautiful constellation, and having this moment. This branch had fallen down, and there was these birds, and then all of a sudden there was the bursts of laughter, and all these young children come running through, almost like literally through the middle of our constellation, having the time of our life. And it was so pertinent to what we were doing. So yeah, when we look at the other signs, not just what's happening in this moment of this field and what we're seeing there, but all of the other signs around us as well. That's what I love about the awareness that it brings. Yeah, when you're open to that.
And you do work a lot with nature yourself, right?
Yeah, more and more.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think you were part of the constellation I did in Mexico where we worked with the land, and we worked with your maunga, which is your mountain, and your awa, which is your river.
Love that.
And yeah, that is very potent, very potent. It takes us all places. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Remembering like
beautiful.
what's the mountain of your father, or what's the mountain of your mother, or the river of your mother or your father.
Mm.
Oh, that's really profound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you can also just say that an ancestor, because
Mm.
we've got millions of them. And it could be just by being as open as that. And it might be, I did one once where so I have Sami ancestry from
Mm.
up in Scandinavia. And so I just asked for one of the Sami mountain and Sami Awa. And it actually took me to the ground as soon as the constellation started. And I was meant to be giving a demonstration. And then yeah, did a little bit of work around that and got myself able to stand up and stuff. But it was so powerful. And I didn't expect that. And yeah. And I don't know why I didn't expect it to be potent and powerful, but it was yeah, it was unexpected at that time. Yeah. So, and what else? What else have you been up to? So, have you got any workshops coming up?
Yeah, I'll be going back to Lithuania, so I will be holding workshops there in July and in August, and then going back to UK in September for a weekend.
Nice. And do you do stuff online as well?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of one-to-one sessions online, and from time to time hold groups online as well.
Beautiful. So how would people find you if they were
And
looking?
check
I
that.
know that you've sent me some information and I'll forward that to be put on social media, but if someone's listening to this, how would they find you?
You can see it on my website, soulfulancestry.com. I think that's the best place, and then I
Beautiful.
post it on Facebook sometimes.
Have you got any examples that you could share of constellations that have stuck with you, that have been memorable, that you could share that wasn't going to cross anyone's privacy boundaries or confidentiality? And maybe it was one that you've experienced yourself. Because I know that one of the feedbacks that I get a lot from people is they love to hear the stories, because then sometimes they have an aha moment. Oh, yeah. Like there'll be something in a story that allows them to recognize something for themselves. So that's why I often ask people if there's anything to share.
I guess what's been really present for me lately, it's also coming back to my first constellation, the one I had with Barbara initially, because it was, it was something that I didn't know about that came through. That was always questioned in my family, not taken seriously, not looked at really. It was a talk about my great-great-grandfather being a general of the Russian army, which, I'm from Lithuania and we are very patriotic, and my family especially, like we are Lithuanians and this, and carrying it so strongly. But actually I do have the Russian or either Ukrainian bloodline as well. And it's a whole huge history, which I was just completely shut down to. And the constellation opened that up, and it was a really, really, needed part for me to reconnect and to step in. And it's still with me, many years has passed, and it's re-emerging and just learning that, like, carrying the victim and perpetrator dynamic within,
Yeah.
and how to walk with that.
Beautiful. It opens you up to so much, doesn't it? When we can, if there's a part of our ancestry that we're really struggling with. I know in New Zealand we have a lot of, for a lot of people, the whole colonizer experience, that journey, and for a lot of people it's not easy. They really struggle with their English heritage, but I mean, in the long run, England's only one part of the colonizer story, really. But yeah, the difference it can make in us when we can be able to be at peace with all that stands behind us. Hey.
Yeah. And what a resource it can be as well when you step out of that, good and bad. That's the whole work of constellations for me, just being able to step out of that and take fully in who you are.
Yeah, how powerful. That's beautiful. It's funny because since we started talking and you were talking about Balkan, so I have that in my ancestry as well. But that's only been a recent find. And I'd said to someone recently, why do I keep attracting these little, so is it Eastern European? Yeah.
Balkan? No.
Yeah. Would that be described as Eastern European?
No, like more east, south.
Okay.
South, maybe. Just
We will
Balkan.
Okay, I need to get my geography sorted out then, don't I? Okay, so I have in my lifetime, in my later lifetime, I have attracted a couple of ladies from that have been around that area of the world, much older ladies who have taken a real liking to me, and I've taken a real, like there's been a real kinship happening, and I had put that out there. Wonder why. I wonder where that is, and then to discover that there's the Balkan heritage. So it's like, okay, maybe there's something in that. Something that's calling me. It's kind of, yeah. I'd love
How
to
did
know
you learn
more.
about it? about your
Through
boat?
DNA.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a DNA journey, my mum and I, during that large time when the world closed down and everybody did not much other than being at home. Yeah, and that because that was where I found out. I found out quite a bit in that journey actually. I've always been a little bit interested in genealogy and ancestry, and yeah, it's quite an interesting adventure. So your family is Lithuanian, Ukrainian, Russian.
I'm mainly Lithuanian, but then the surname I carry comes from my father, father's father, and father's fathers. And at that time, I know the territory is Ukraine, but it was part of Imperial Russia, Tsaric Russia, where that great great grandfather comes from. And he actually was a general in the First World War and led the Russian army, one of two, I guess, battalions or how you call it, of the Russian army. And
Yeah.
he was defeated, and yeah, the troops were captured. It was really not a successful battle for him in the beginning of the First World War, and he committed suicide just in the woods in Poland.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Obviously he'd started a family beforehand.
he did, and yeah, he left his wife and his, I guess, one son. I don't know that much more about that.
Yeah.
But there is a whole big piece about it because when I went to visit his, there's a monument in the forest where he did kill himself
Oh wow.
after his troops were captured. I think it was about 100,000 army. Like it was a big movement. And when I went there, I just realized that that place is just 10 kilometers away from where the Battle of Tannenberg happened, like 400 or 500 years ago.
Ah,
And that's a big one because that's when Lithuania's and Poland and Lithuanian United Kingdom, they defeated, how you say, it's like the Germans, the Crusaders.
yeah.
And now here, the Germans, they defeated this army. So it's like the later Hitler came into power, and he even built a huge monument there to saying, okay, we have won now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it carries the history of the 400 years somehow. And it's been a
Yeah.
lot going there and feeling all that and relating to that. And it was not talked about at all in my family.
So how was that for you when you went there? Because it's kind of like you were bringing him back into the family.
Yeah, yeah. Powerful. I was a lot like quite resistant to the history and learning because Lithuania carries a lot of trauma. I mean, the last 100 years and the wars, and it was very, very cruel. So there is a lot of pain and sadness, and I kind of keeping myself away from that. And I guess
Yeah.
this opened me up a bit more of seeing the bigger context, going even even further away, and then I guess even drawing power from there
Yeah.
to look at what really happened and what people carry, because Lithuania is a beautiful country and the people are beautiful, but you can feel the pain, like you can really, really feel feeling.
No wonder you do land constellations and nature constellations, and it's all part of you.
Mm,
Your it's innate. It's innate for you. Yeah. Where you
resource for
come. Yeah. Beautiful. It's so beautiful. You work a lot with the sacred as well. I know that I just witnessed your being and how you are in the world. How would you describe or share that? How do you bring that into the work, or how is it for you in your daily life?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned in the beginning, like I do walk this path of ceremony, and I guess since 2012, ceremony strongly came to me through Mayan people, then
Mm,
different elders I met on the way, and just who shared teachings with me. But then later on, I was adopted in this tribe in Canada, and they taught me a lot. They really took me in. I stayed on a reservation in Canada and kept on going back. I stayed first half a year and then would go back and continue deepening into the teachings. And it's mainly about, having good relations. It's simple. It's not that. I
mm,
mean, you learn about your place in cosmos as well. And I love what Francis Weller, I don't know if you know Francis Weller. who does the grief work. It's amazing elder as well. He talks about the loss of original identity. So as we come from the mystery, we land in the body, which is like our home, but then now we are kind of disconnected from the body. Then we land in a family that's could be like supportive and welcoming, but of course now a lot of relations get broken in there. Then we land in a living community, which also gives us our, gives us our medicine, gives us our belonging, and also gives us our responsibilities in the sacred, in the cosmos, through the clan system or through some ways like seeing yourself in a bigger picture. So I didn't have all of that. And the people in Canada, they showed me lots of the way to connect to that bigger picture, finding my place. So yeah, I do make my offerings wherever I go. I acknowledge the land. I walk with tobacco or some grain or something. Just put that offering. I often leave the food for the ancestors. Whenever I eat, I try to leave a bite honoring the ancestors, just building those relations. I love, swans as well, so I do feed them too, and name them and invite them in the space. In the work, I usually start with a prayer.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the land, the essence there, acknowledging the elements. I do bring elements on my altar a lot, all 4 elements: water, fire, air, and I invite people to call in whatever, they relate to it as sacred. It can be just trust or love, which is also big and helpful for holding the space. But some people, they don't talk about it, but they have relations with some animals, with angels. So
And
just want
sometimes
to
it's
make
really
space
surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to make space for it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. How did you meet this tribe that adopted you?
I started first with the sun dance and moon dance ceremonies in Mexico. I started with Vipassana meditation like long time ago, 25 years ago, and then I met people from ceremony, and I just wanted to learn to see. And in one of the sun dances, I was smudging there, for a few years, and the elders from Canada came. My teacher now, Bear. Hands extended to the people. He came because he was in the area, he was invited, and he had a free day, so he came to share with the elders there. And because I was smudging, they needed someone to smudge the circle of the elders. Happened to be there and make that connection. Then I was invited.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What does it mean, just for anyone to understand, when you say being adopted? Like, what does that mean for you? How does that land?
I didn't know it as well. I was just there in one of the sweat lodges, and it just came. My teacher now, he said, just I adopt you as my sister, as my little sister.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, just the tears rolling the cheeks. You don't know what it means, but it means a lot. Yeah.
Because it's that soul level stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess there comes a certain responsibility with that too, that I'm just still learning. But I truly feel for the people, for the First Nation people in Canada, in US, and all around the world.
Yeah.
Like, I really respect, what they kept through all the difficulty, and that they're open to share with us.
Yeah. And when feeling into what you shared about Lithuania and that pain, and I think it's everywhere, isn't it? But in some degrees, it's closer to the surface than others. It's been a lot further back, or for some, it's a lot more recent. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also finding that way to, to connect with our ancestors, not only on that pain layer, going a bit deeper and allowing those, also the healing to flow through those ancestral lines as well. It's there. There are wise ancestors in our lines. Like there are teachings that we can pick up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, Tracy, for exploring that with me.
Yeah, no, it's I had a similar experience 20 odd years ago with a group that I was involved in here in Aotearoa in New Zealand. And at that time, I mean, I'd always felt that the connection to Maori, and having grown up in a very small village where we were all just we were all just mates. Everyone was, and I was one of the, we call them, it's called Pākehā, which is non-Maori family. And but I've always felt like I had Maori in me, and so it wasn't until again did the DNA to discover that yes, there was. Going back to having that experience by being adopted in a way, by being taken in and supported and guided. Yeah, by people who had a much stronger connection to their knowing of who they are and where they come from, and yeah, and in a way, it was reminding my cells, it was reminding my DNA, this is part of you as well. And I think as you were sharing that, it was like, yeah, they're just what you were learning was a reminder for, we all come from a people of the fire. All of our ancestors at some point would have done their traditional teachings, their traditional ways. Their again comes back to the sound. It comes back to the being in nature, and yeah, it all weaves together. It's so good, so good.
Like when I did my first fasting ceremony with this tradition, Bear came to me in the end and he said, "My ancestors know your ancestors."
Wow.
And from that place, like, how come? Like, I'm so different. I'm so far away, and then still, I knew it's true.
Well, remember the millions, though, right?
Yeah.
20 generations back, there's over 1 million in that one line. And the world was a bit smaller place then, like as in population to now.
Mm.
And then you go back another. I haven't even calculated beyond that.
Yeah.
But often when I'm drumming and I'm talking and I say to people, there's two that stand behind you, your mother or your father. Then behind them, there's four, and then there's eight, and da, 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 I'm going through the 16, 32. 7 generations, there's 128 in that line. 20 generations, there's over 1 million people in that one line. So, yeah, to think, absolutely,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And what comes to me now, when you say that, just remember now, like meeting some people or some clients who say, no, no, actually, my ancestors don't matter. I, I don't want to look there. No, no, let's do something else. And how does it not matter? It's so much, right? That's a
That's where
really
we come
gift
from.
of this work. And again, Francis Willer says, like, the ancestors became the outcasts in our culture somehow. We do
Mm,
not talk about them. We barely remember them. Well, they're such an important part of who we are. And they are
yeah.
with us still.
Like was he a general?
Yeah.
Was like your grandfather, great grandfather, that was a general. Exactly. It's that remembering. Was that song? Who sings that song that says we die twice? And it's first when you leave the body, and second is when they stop mentioning your name. Not that we know the name of all of our ancestors, but it feels like those ones who are excluded, often they're finding their way. They're finding the descendant that's going to remember them. So that's beautiful.
And just those loyalties we have, we constantly see in constellations how we hold certain loyalties to the ancestors. It's from love too. We
Mm.
know they belong in our soul. We know they belong. So we carry, like, I don't know, from this ancestor, I can say, like, I cannot be big because I'm gonna end really bad, like, or I cannot be a leader because it's gonna end up like that. I mean, I do or did have those beliefs in me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so did you do
working with
some
that.
work around that with him? With him?
I did. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a pretty, I
Mm.
mean, it's a not big boots to fill, but it's a big role that he had in history that didn't work out in the good for him.
Mm.
And yeah, that unconscious loyalty of who am I to stand up in the world and be seen, be big, like you say. Yeah. Wow.
What if I make a wrong decision? Like,
Mm,
oh, that's a big one.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that for the audience, just so that they can understand what you're meaning?
I mean, just relating to that story of my great great grandfather, right? Like leading this big group of people into war and then ending up surrounded. Many people died, many people were captured, families were broken. It's a
Mm,
huge weight to hold, to carry, and it possibly came from his. I don't know if it's only his decision, but part of it is like, okay, somebody had to make a decision. It's possibly the
yeah.
people who lead, right? And it's like, wow, so if you lead, you can really make a wrong decision, and lots of lives might be ruined in a way. I don't know, like lots of pain can come out of
Mm,
that. So it's dangerous. Mm. Yeah, yeah. That's one part of it. I feel like it's complex. Mm.
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? The things, like you say, the loyalties that we hold on to. So, yeah. And when we're able to look at that and honor his role in the family of that was his fate, and history wouldn't be history. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing if that had been any different. Hey.
But I can also see, the brokenness of that line, because
Mm,
eventually he took his life
yeah.
and he didn't come back to his family who were, waiting for him. They came back to find his body and to bring it back to the land, which I feel is beautiful.
Okay, back to Lithuania.
No, it was, well,
Oh,
nowadays
Russia, sorry.
Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ukraine. Well,
yeah.
Imperial Russia at that time, but the territory of Ukraine now, and which is all mixed again, right? And then his son somehow came to Lithuania, so I don't know why. And he had my grandfather, but then he disappeared, so that man is also missing.
Mm,
And then my grandfather, he had two kids, but he separated with my grandmother, and then kind of the kids grew up without the father, and then I grew up without the father too.
wow. Yeah.
So there's that brokenness, right, that just repeats. Mm.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love constellations. I mean, it helped me so much. That's why I'm so passionate about it. And the stories I witness also when facilitating. It's so powerful. It's so needed. I just wish
Mm.
it expands and more people can come.
Where would you see yourself in 5 years' time in the constellation field? Do you have an idea or, yeah, I'll just lead with that question first.
I don't know. Would be nice maybe to write a book one day. I would love that.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I start taking some notes, now after constellations, I'm just like so blown away of the things that
Mm,
reveal themselves. Each time I'm there, I'm learning. We are as facilitators, we don't know. Like we don't know what's going to happen next. It's that listening to the field and the things that come and how it moves. It's so expansive. Like I say,
mm,
it's expanding consciousness, this work. That's what it does. So.
yeah, yeah,
And it opens the heart. Some stories are really hard to hear, to witness. Like there is sometimes a lot of torture, or
yeah,
I mean, some stories are really heavy, and just making space for that too, and allowing it into the heart. That humanity, is like that. It's not closing your eyes to what's there, or our hearts as well.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, human beings can be very cruel to each other, and find the love in there's still love. Find the love. That's part of the healing, isn't it? The love and acceptance.
Yeah, and the part that we do not need to carry it alone. Like some things are so big that it's really hard to carry it alone. Like that's
Mm,
why this work, that's why it's so good. There is place for all of it. There is place. The field is strong. The field can hold it.
mm,
The group can
mm,
hold it.
Yeah.
Just real invitation for people to come, don't do it alone. It's so hard.
Do you, when you go to Canada, do you do a constellation work up there with your
I never done it on a reservation yet. I've done it on the band office, so just working with some people who work some people from the reservation, but I do work more, just offer it and see who comes. So it's more actually European, how you say, European
descendants
people,
people? Yeah.
descendants, yeah.
Yeah.
More of them come, or mixed race. I think for the people from First Nation people, it still need to build more trust and to come into those spaces, and possibly for me to stay longer if I wanted to offer that. I did offer it to Mayan people in Guatemala because I was invited to a really rural area, very traditional Mayan people, and it was, yeah, very beautiful as well. But in
And
Canada,
they
what's
would have got
really,
it. They would have understood it, right? With their history and their way of life. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there are different things. Like some maybe emotional education is not as we have it, right? Some people, as like I noticed that emotions are very locked in. It's quite hard to feel or to show. But stepping into the field is very easy because they know it, because they're still functioning
Yeah.
in that realm, I guess.
Yeah.
Less mind.
Do you think that you just shared the emotions are hard for them to access, or is it that it's hard for them to access when foreigners are around, maybe? Or is it just
Um,
something that you have observed? Because I know you've spent quite a bit of time with the Mayan community in different parts.
yeah, definitely, it might be that I'm a foreigner. It's truly different. And some people even ask me, like, would I train them to do this work? And I feel that would be much more beneficial if they did it. But the other thing, yeah, I feel like the women are suppressed a lot in
Mm,
that culture, um, in the household, and I'm not sure if they can feel safe expressing their emotions. That's just my impression, right? I haven't done that much work, but yeah,
yeah.
something that
I
I
think
do.
that's something that we see in many different cultures around the world too. Yeah. And I've observed that, and because we do a bit of looking into each other's eyes, because that's part of
Mm.
seeing the other person is representing something for you. So you're looking at them, and it's not that you're looking at them, but you're looking, well, it's the catch-22, is it? You're looking at them, but you're not looking, yeah, but you're not looking at them because you're looking at them because they're holding an energy for you. They might be representing a grandmother or
Yeah.
an energy of love or something like that. So you're looking at them for that, but you're not looking at them like I'm not looking at you and having that connection there. I'm looking at you because you're representing love for me. You're right, the energy of
Mm.
unconditional love. So for some people, that's just looking at someone, looking into their eyes is just like something that they've never done. I worked with a
Mm.
man from where was he from? Sierra Leone, and he couldn't look in the eyes because it wasn't acceptable thing to do. You didn't look people in the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Like in some culture, it's a sign of respect too, like not to
Mm,
go too straight into the soul of somebody.
mm, yeah.
Mm.
So we're walking a fine line, but finding the balance in it as well in the work, especially when we're doing work in other countries and other cultures that
Yeah.
aren't familiar to us completely as we are with our country of origin, I suppose.
When you asked about Canada, I just remembered one of the circles I did there, and because we started with like standing in the circle and acknowledging our ancestors and all the places they came from, and I was just like so surprised that there was like so much Europe in the room. I was like, I felt so far away from my homeland and from Europe being there, and then all these like Netherlands, Belgium, England, Scotland. It was all in the room. And when the
Mm,
constellation was happening, I think one of the the last ones, suddenly someone started singing, and then all of them joined in some song that they would sing when the boats were coming, and all the room knew the song. I
Oh,
was just
wow.
witnessing. I was almost like crying myself, just seeing it happening. And my strongest takeaway from that was that the ancestors in Europe are, I mean, part of it, it's they're angry that people didn't come back. Part of it, it's they're sad and
Mm,
seeing them,
mm.
just wanting to be seen, to be remembered. And that really touched me.
I love watching those Who Do You Think You Are programs. And long lost family and programs like that. When a few years ago, when I was still in the cycles of bleeding and stuff, I would always save up on the television those programs for that time of the month when I could
Mm.
just sit and watch these programs and cry and cry and cry and cry. Yeah, my mum was the first generation of her in her mother's line to be here in Aotearoa, and her mother had come out as a wee child with the family, and she never went back to her homeland to visit at all.
Oh.
And so I think there's a part of that searching for the ancestry, but I just love watching them. I've actually been watching them today online. I think I watched Susan Sarandon and Rob Lowe and a few of the few names from America, a few of the actors and stuff like that. And just the fascinating stories, of people that go off on a voyage and then never come home. And you've got all those that are left behind wondering whatever happened to that person. And I'm sure that we've all got ancestors that have done that at some point. Yeah.
Did you go
Gone
back?
off.
Do you have a chance to visit?
I haven't been to where my mum's family are from, but my mum did. She went back, and I always remember her saying, I feel like I did that for my mum because
Mm.
she was the only one of the children that did go back. Her brother and sister never travelled out of the country at all. But she went back to there. And my nana was one of 8 children, but only three, there was only three and the family left England because all the children were dying, so they left to come to New Zealand to start a better life, and hoping that it was safer and easier for the children. Yeah, and obviously it was because they've all survived, and thrived. Yeah, thrived here in the country. Yeah, the ancestors that leave and didn't and then the family doesn't know. I talked about that recently with someone else online about in Ireland there was a lot of and probably throughout different parts of Europe as well, but particularly in Ireland, like people would just be taken off the streets. They might have gone to get some flour to make go home and make some bread, and they'd taken and they were taken as slaves, and the Irish women particularly were taken for breeding purposes. So yeah, the many families out there looking the unknown. Gosh, that little thread went off on a totally different tangent, didn't it? I love it. I love that's why it's called Constellations and All That. We just go, follow that thread. Where's it taking us to? Where's that rememberings going? Ah, it's so good to talk to you. Good to see your face and share some time with you again.
It's lovely, Tracy. Thank you for having me,
Mm,
for inviting.
you're welcome. What time is it in Switzerland right now?
Mm, 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. It's 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming along, sharing your wisdom. And yeah, if anyone's interested in working with Aiste, just reach out to her on her website. We'll put the links into the thread. And yeah, she's the nomad who can work all around the world. Digital nomad.
Yeah, I mean, come visit in Lithuania, come visit to Glastonbury in UK.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
that sounds exciting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe I have when you have some workshops and stuff like that, share the links with me and I'll pop them on. I've got a couple of pages, pop them on there. There's some bigger international pages as well that I can put them on.
Thanks,
So,
Tracy.
you're
Lovely.
welcome. Beautiful.
Lovely
Thanks for
being with you.
sharing your time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E. .cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.